Going everyone, Tommy from Weather Sponge 5000 today. It's June 17, 2021, and today we're going to take a look at Invest 92L, which likely will become a tropical depression either today or tomorrow, or could become Tropical Storm Claudette and will impact the United States later this week. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe. If you want to see more weather accounts, make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather accounts. So let's begin by taking a look at the current water vapor imagery for the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, focusing on Invest 92L, and you see that there's a lot of convection on the eastern side of the storm. Currently, the convection is right here, which is very far from where all the convection is going, where it's going on. However, it is expected that the center of circulation will eventually move to where all the thunderstorm activity is at, where the air pressure is lower, and we're going to see this circulation sort of jump or merge with new low level circulation that's going to be located where all the convection is, because as of right now this storm is dealing with a decent amount of wind shear. There's an upper level low that's currently located over Texas, and we have a smaller upper level low that's dipping sort of in this direction. That's pretty much steering a lot of the thunderstorm activity further eastward, and it's also bringing a strong southerly wind component, the upper level wind. So as a result, the eastern side of this storm is where all the convection is happening, because pretty much the upper level winds and the lower level winds on the eastern side of the center of circulation are coinciding with each other, which means that there's very little wind shear. There's going to be a decent amount of strong wind going over the eastern side than what you'd see on the western side. And wind over very warm water is just going to induce a lot of convection, unlike here where these upper level winds are bringing dry air to the western portion of the storm. So as a result, this is going to be a very lopsided storm. It's going to be very typical to what we see in the early months of the hurricane season, when there's still a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere and over the Atlantic Ocean. So it's going to be very lopsided, and so even if you're very far from the center circulation on the eastern side of this storm, there's still a possibility, or a pretty good possibility, you're going to receive heavy rain from this all across the Gulf Coast. Now, this has been moving forward, northward forward, and if we take a look at the current track from the National Hurricane Center, the current forecasted development chance, and now it's pretty much at a 90% chance within the next 48 hours, and then a 90% chance within the next 5 days. So it's pretty much inevitable at this point, almost inevitable at this point. We're going to see some sort of tropical depression or a tropical storm out of this, and it's going to move directly northward into the United States, where a landfall is pretty much inevitable at this point, somewhere in the United States, whether this is a tropical depression, a tropical storm, or maybe not even tropical depression and just a regular low pressure. So the point is that a landfall at this point is pretty much inevitable in the United States, and pretty much the areas you need to pay. Pretty much the main area will be focused on Louisiana. However, like I said, the impacts will spread well beyond the center of circulation, because the eastern side of the storm just has a lot of moisture, so flooding could be a major concern. If we were to take a look at the current wind shear, you see that there's a decent amount of wind shear going on right now as a result of the upper level low in Texas I was talking to you about, which is steering a lot of that thunderstorm activity to the east, and it's going to certainly inhibit its development over the next couple of days. It certainly won't rapidly develop, and most of the computer models aren't really expecting this to be any more than a weak tropical storm, mainly because wind shear is going to be there all throughout. There's going to be areas where there's going to be times where the wind shear there won't be a ton of wind shear. However, there's going to be just enough wind shear and just enough dry air to inhibit this storm, to really limit its max potential when it comes to storm strength, which is certainly good news. However, there still could be major impacts when it comes to flooding with this storm. And you do not want to underestimate these weaker tropical storms, because they certainly could cause a lot of damage just by flooding alone. So we need to keep that in mind. You might be wondering what will affect the strength of the storm as it heads closer into the Gulf Coast, as it heads closer to its landfall in Louisiana? Well, like I said, it really all depends on the wind shear. If we were to take a look at the forecasted wind shear by the GFS model at this point, going into 250 millibar, going into the air level of the atmosphere where the air pressure is 250 millibars, you see that as of right now, there's a pretty decent amount of wind shear over this storm at this point. Like I said, thanks to this upper level low that's located just around the coast of Texas at this point. So we're seeing those stronger upper level winds affect the storm from really developing into anything much. And it's not only the upper level winds, it's also the dry air that's okay, especially on the western side of the storm. And while it is certainly more than moist in the eastern side, the western side does have pockets of dry air, which will make it difficult for this to develop into its max strength that it could. So what would change so in terms of how the wind shear could be lighter, it really all depends on where this upper level low is located, and that also means that we need to keep in mind of like the strength of the storm, because if this storm is stronger, then it's more likely to push away these upper level lows, and it'll be in a more less hostile environment, I should say. And so it's sort of like if this storm ends up being stronger, it's sort of gonna accelerate its strengthening pattern, because if it's stronger, then that means more this upper level low will move away quicker, and a lot of these upper level lows will stay further away from the storm, because typically tropical storms release a lot of outflow, and that outflow pushes away a lot of upper level lows, and the upper level lows are pretty much the main reason why there's wind shear over the Gulf. So if the storm pushes it away, then there's more likely of a shot that this develops into more than just a weak tropical storm, maybe closer to 50 miles per hour, very slight chance of 60, but maybe it could be in the higher end of the spectrum where we do see a 50 to 60 mile per hour tropical storm along the Gulf Coast. However, if there's more wind shear than expected, the storm will be weaker. And since the storm is weaker, then it's less likely the upper level lows will move quick enough to remove the wind shear in the Gulf. So there is certainly still that possibility that this isn't even a tropical depression by the time it makes landfall in Louisiana and Mississippi at this point. Taking a look at the GFS model forecast, it's forecasting this storm to be so weak to the point where it doesn't even list the L icon, which shows that there isn't a very strong low or well-defined low pressure system before it makes landfall in Louisiana. So the GFS isn't very lenient on making this any more than a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm, and potentially even having strength less than that. The European is still a little bit more lenient on strengthening this slightly more, but again, they're both taking pretty much a weak tropical storm. So in terms of wind speed and storm surge, I don't think it'll be a major issue, if an issue at all, when it comes to storm surge, since the storm is pretty much going to be too weak for any potential major storm surge to occur. However, flooding associated with rain from the storm is certainly a pretty big concern, and we need to keep a close eye on that. In terms of the computer model forecast, the ensemble members are all agreeing that this won't really strengthen beyond a weak tropical storm, based on what the European model ensemble is stating at this point. So there shouldn't be a major worry when it comes to wind speed with the storm at all. However, I want to emphasize that the rainfall will be the biggest threat with the storm throughout Louisiana, Mississippi, and even as far east as Alabama and the Panhandle of Florida and even Georgia, because as the storm makes landfall, there's going to be a trough moving through the United States, which will steer Invest 92L, or what may become Tropical Storm Claudette, further into the northeast, and it's going to bring a lot of that rain with it. So there's just a lot of heavy rain throughout the Gulf Coast for this weekend. I'm seeing areas where 7 inches is possible, right around New Orleans, and going into Gulfport, Mississippi could get involved, Mobile, Alabama as well, and the Panhandle of Florida are anywhere between 5 to 7 inches of rain, which is more than enough to cause not only river flood threat, but maybe a flash flood threat as well. So this is something you guys need to pay close attention to. And what you notice is that despite the landfall, most likely going to be somewhere right around just slightly to the west of New Orleans, you see that majority of the rain will be to the east of where the center of circulation will make landfall, and the western portion of the storm will miss out on a lot of rainfall. It still will rain heavy. Don't get me wrong. You guys are still forecasted to get over 2 inches of rain in some areas in Louisiana. However, it isn't anywhere near as bad as what you're going to receive on the eastern side, which is something I want to emphasize, that even if you're far from the eye, the Panhandle of Florida will still receive heavy rain, Georgia as well, even South Carolina, because the storm will move northward as well, and this could be a major flood threat for you guys. So in Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, you guys need to pay very close attention to this, because flooding is one of the most, if not the most, life-threatening weather event in the United States, when it comes to the amount of deaths per year. So I want to keep you guys safe. Make sure to stay prepared in case of a flood throughout those areas, because it's likely going to happen. In terms of my strength forecast and the exact projected path I have with this storm, you see that, and by the way, this is based off of my speculation and my thoughts alone, so this could easily be completely wrong. It's certainly subject to change. Forecasting the strength especially is very difficult. However, I'm pretty confident with the projected path, and the strength should be right around the ballpark, at least around a weak tropical storm or a tropical depression just before it makes landfall in Louisiana. So prepare as if there's going to be a weak tropical storm, but do not underestimate the flooding at the same time, because that could still be life-threatening despite the storm not really being extremely strong. But you see, I'm expecting this storm to strengthen to 45 miles per hour tomorrow morning, on Friday morning, and then it should make landfall right around late Friday, very late Friday, into the overnight hours of Saturday, right around 1 a.m. Saturday. Somewhere in Louisiana. It could be just around New Orleans, or it could be just to the west. It should be somewhere in this area. I don't expect any major shifts in the forecast at this time, when we're pretty much less than 48 hours away from the event. So most likely we should see a landfall in this area, and then of course as it heads over land, it will weaken to 30 to 25 miles per hour. So despite being weak, there's going to dump a lot of rain, and I want you guys to keep in mind of that for this week. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather calls. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. I hope you guys have a good day.